what if finding what you were made for, what if doing the thing that you're here to do, what if that was actually the very thing that made everything into the unlosable game? When I was a kid, we used to be a part of the Carnival, and we had all kinds of games. We had the balloon game where you had to pop the balloon to win a prize. We had the toilet bowl game where you threw a softball into the toilet bowl to win a prize. We had the goldfish game where you threw a ping pong ball into a goldfish bowl to win a prize. And my favorite was the rat race, where you spun something that looked like the Wheel of Fortune, and you put a couple of rats onto this spinning wheel, and the rats would run around. Trust me, they liked it. They would run around, drop into a hole, and if you guessed which hole they were going to drop into, you won a prize. But here's the thing. I think we all know. Carnivals are rigged. So I joke now, and it's sometimes fun to think about, where I used to work or be a part of something that we had unwinnable games. And now I like to help people create the unlosable game. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, is creating an unlosable game. And that is wrapped and connected to your purpose, to your design. And even if you found the thing or the occupation, the career, or any of those things that you were designed for, that's great. There are still more depths of your design to dig out, to mine out, and to put to use, so that your life, well, in the pursuit of these things, creates what we're calling the unlosable game. I mean, imagine, what if the way that you invested, the way that you did business, the way that you gained clients, the way that you grew your team, the way that you did your art, the way that you created music, the way that you did your automation company, the way that you did whatever it is that you're doing, you were growing from something that felt good. And because it felt good, you did it more. And because you did it more, it created more results. We're going to talk about how to get there. But before we do, I've got to tell you about a young lady who grew up in Japan. And from a very young age, she had kind of an odd passion. And this person took something that almost nobody wants to do, and she became a multimillionaire from doing it. And she loved every second of it. When Marie was just a young person, she found herself organizing. Even as a baby, she would sort things in different categories. Her toys would be put in different categories. As she grew older, she would actually stay behind whenever the other kids were at school. They were out at the playground. Marie would go to class and organize the bins and the cubicles and the school supplies. Sometimes she would rush home to organize her home and put things in order. She got in trouble several times for organizing the things that belonged to other family members. Sometimes she even threw away some things that were quite valuable. As she grew older, the gift was there, but her parents, of course, like all parents in Japan, expected her to do something responsible, something acceptable, something that was a surefire thing, something that everyone else was doing. And so they encouraged her to become a nurse, to work in an office, or to become a teacher, something that they knew would produce consistency so that their daughter would be cared for by what it was that she did. But that wasn't the course that Marie took. She actually ended up going to college, and in the midst of college, she wrote a thesis, and it was about her love, tidying. After she graduated college, she opened a consultant business that really was very, very, very niche. It was a tidying business. Of all the businesses that she could have done, she chose tidying, and she did it really well. She actually started growing in her business. One person would refer her to another, and just by word of mouth, her business kept her busy. One night, though, greatness would come in the form of a meltdown. One night, as Marie was cleaning and decluttering, which she was famous for, and she was creating this minimalist space for people, she realized it was not going well. She was so tired, she actually fainted from exhaustion. When she woke up, she realized, this isn't joyful. This isn't fun for me. This isn't fun for the people that I'm doing business with. And it was then that she decided that she would take her belief, something, a spiritual side of her, and mix it in with her business. And instead of being a minimalist, she started asking people, does this object that's in your space, does it give you joy? And this is where Marie Kondo began to develop the KonMari method. And the KonMari method grew, and it grew rapidly. And as fast as her business had grown before, it was exploding now. Eventually, it became a book and then a Netflix series. Now she's worth millions. And the way that she got there was by doing something that most of us not only would overlook, but even if we said, I love tidying, we probably would talk ourselves out of doing anything with it, because everyone knows how to tidy. Everyone knows how to clean. But Marie revolutionized it. And she didn't do it by adding anything more. She took one simple idea and she added it with joy. So her method is joy with simplicity. When you look at that story, my question that I would have for you, is there an element that you've left out of your job, that you've left out of your vocation, that you've left out of your calling? And is the element, oftentimes, is it, and it oftentimes is it the calling part of your vocation? Vocation actually means calling. And what we do when we grow up is we tend to get really good at something, clinically good at something. We know the details, the ins and the outs. We know how to do things, but oftentimes we leave aside the spirit. And when Marie decided she was going to say, this has to do with joy as much as it has to do with cleanliness, something happened. The same thing happened for me when I decided that, hey, I was going to be doing this task, but I was going to be doing it joyfully. That's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be joyfully. And I invited that spirit into what I was doing. And I created space, and I created games, and I created things in my life that actually married the two. And if you're in a place to where you feel like you're struggling and you've gotten to a place to where it feels like things are about to break, you might be at the place where Marie Kondo was at when she was doing it, and doing it well, but burnt out. Sometimes just on the other side of that burnout is the whisper. And it's that whisper that's the invite. Boy, isn't that so great and lovely for you? Is there something that you've been neglecting? Is there a belief that you could bring in? That's what we're going to be looking at as we're going into the unlosable game. Yesterday was on with old client who cycled in, and I'm trying to just kind of adjust him back into place so he can get out there and create more. He withdrew because things got tough. And as things got tough, he felt like he had nothing to offer. This guy, some of his core beliefs were generosity, fun, and connection. But as money dwindled, this guy felt like, we'll just call him Ned. As money dwindled, Ned might be on here, so I'm protecting the names of the innocent, right? And I do this for you too. So as his money dwindled, he felt like he didn't have as much to offer. And when he didn't have as much to offer, he connected less. And when he connected less, his fun had disappeared. Have you done that before? We've all been guilty, right? We've all been guilty of when our resources aren't there, we can back up. We can go and isolate and go into a dark corner, and then when we have stuff, then we show up like Father Christmas, doling out whatever our version of a gift is. But one of the things that we looked at, and one of the things that I'm going to actually ask you to look at, is what is it that you have right now to create what it is that you want? Marie, she had a mess. That's all she had. Can you imagine telling people how to clean up a mess and then writing a book about it and getting a Netflix series about it? That's audacity. You may have something that you have in life, by the way, that's so simple that you feel like, oh, everyone knows this. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. But the very first question I have for you is what do you have right now that could possibly create what it is that you want? What is it that you love? What are you passionate about? What would you explore? What are your curiosities? How do you like to connect with people? And what is it that you create? Check this out. I don't know quite how I'm going to use these yet, but I went to a farmer's market where this lady created these, and these look so beautiful in the sunlight. I don't know if you'll get the reflection, but these are butterflies that she had this butterfly garden, and she just sticks them into a plant pot, and looks like a bouquet. It's so beautiful. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with these yet. She makes these out of 2-liter bottles, and so a 2-liter bottle, some marker, and a little bit of time creates a tiny bit of joy. And for her, it created $40 from me as I bought a bunch of them. And so did a bunch of other people. Too often we actually remove possibility because all we're thinking about is the weight of impossibility. My friend, every opportunity is at the crossroads of an obstacle. So if you're facing an obstacle right now, maybe look the other way because the other road has opportunity. So if you're in the obstacle, look for the opportunity that's there. Perhaps your disadvantage might be your greatest advantage. And that's what we were talking about with Ned. Ned, I said, wow, this sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. What is it that you do have? And what is it that we can do? Well, you like to give. You like to feel like you have something to offer to people. And if you have nothing to offer, you withdraw. But there might be other things you can offer other than fun gifts. What could those be? And we found, after many, many, many questions, the unlosable game for Ned. And it was the game of positive deposits. For him, all of these things combined created this feeling of like, all I know is that I believe my principle in life is that if I do positive things will happen. I nurtured this out of him, and it's really funny because he said, oh my gosh. And he showed me his only tattoo, and it says, do positive things will happen. He literally tattooed it on himself. I would say this, if you have a tattoo on yourself anywhere, there might be some meaning in that for you, meaning like there's oftentimes a belief, and I'm not talking about what you did on a drunken college excursion, but the other ones you thought about. There might be a hidden belief about how you think life should happen, how you believe business should happen. When you start to function that way, even if the deals don't come, even if you don't get clients, even if you don't get the results that you wanted, you're winning. Ned knows that every day, and so he gets a text message every day. What was your positive deposit today? He knows that if he makes a positive deposit, positive things are going to happen. There's a faith that he has built in around that principle. And do you know that the way you do business shows the way that you do life? Do you not know that this is permission for the rest of us to live like you? Gandhi said, my life is my teaching. And I would say the same thing for you. Your life is your teaching. And when you are playing the unlosable game, you're teaching the world, you're teaching your children, you're teaching your grandchildren, you're teaching all of the business partners around you that it doesn't matter how dark it is. This is true. So what is your this? What is your this? What is it that you believe deep down into your core? You believe it so much, you might get a tattoo for it. You like, not saying you would, but if you did, it would be this thing. Or it might be a poster you would put in your workspace. What is that thing? Another person was saying, like, oh, I wanted to go do this thing, but I couldn't follow up with these people because I was going to a family event. It was a college visitation day. How cool is that? Family first was what this guy believed. And do you know that even though he couldn't serve clients on the weekend and go to their open houses, it's real easy to say, listen, I hope that went well. I had something to do with my family. And it would totally connect with the people that believed the same thing. What I'm saying is the unlosable game for you is a way to express belief. And the neat thing that happens in the process is it attracts others who think and feel and believe the same way, or they want to. There are so many people who are trapped in the darkness of the grind. There are so many people who feel alone, who are carrying the weight and the burden of all of the things that they think they have to do to be joyful. You can be joyful right now. You don't have to have $1 billion or $1 million, or you can have a negative net worth and still laugh. It's free. You can love before anyone loves you back. You can give without the need for anyone to give back. You can say something completely amazing and awesome with no requirement for anyone to understand you. All of these are a choice of what you will do as the proactor, as the agent of your life. This is a deep and meaningful way. I'm going to look at some of the archetype stuff. When we're talking about the unlosable game, I'll look at some archetype stuff, but I hope you got some things kind of stewing and brewing in your brain. We're not going to go super long into this, but let's go into, I'm just going to pull up the wheel and we'll talk about some of those things that, there we go. Sorry, guys. Got all these lessons all in one place, so it's kind of fun to have that. If you want to see Google, there we are. If you ever want to see the layout or if you ever want, like, these are all, it's just like visual outlines of all of the lessons we've ever done. And eventually it'll let me zoom in. There we go. We're going to this color wheel here. And there we go. So, let me get it away from all the other things. All right. So I want to think about some of the, if you're looking at what is the unlosable game for you. And first off, you need to have a mission. And maybe your mission is to get out of debt, grow your business. Maybe it is to graduate or to find another job, or I don't know what it is. But the unlosable game has to have a mission. But the unlosable game happens when you have a how or a who. Who will you be in the process, and how will you do those things? And so a connector might do things in a way. Let me get my little marker. I'm going to choose this one. Choose blue, right? A connector might do things in a way that felt where they were making other people matter. A connector is going to want to bounce into and off of others. They're going to want to make people feel good. They're going to want to pursue. So A connector has everything to do with relatability. And so doing things in a way that creates relatability. I was working with someone recently. Oh man, what a fun and awesome person he is. But we realized that he says this word more than not brother, more than anyone else I've ever heard. Brother. He wants to be a brother. Now, I don't even know if he has any brothers. I should have asked that. But his mission could be, I'm just going to go be a big brother to someone. I'm going to go help them, guide them, be a friend to them, and then exalt them. That's an unlosable game. Oh, I didn't get the deal, but I acted like a brother. Another person, they want to actually feel, they want to make connections. Oh, Ned wanted to have fun. It was have fun. What was the other one? Have fun and help. Have fun and help. So instead of him going out to get 3 new referral partners this week, or instead of him making 100 calls, he said, I'm going to have fun with someone today. I'm going to help someone today. And if he can do that enough times, Ned makes positive deposits. And we all know what happens at the end of that. It begins to build. The visionary. Well, what's a visionary do? Well, a visionary includes creators, it includes shamans, it includes, who's the other visionary? Oh, the optimist, right? And so if you can help people see things brighter, so maybe it's joyful, more meaningful. So I'm in this category a lot. And for me, it's like if I can give purpose to what people are doing, it matters to me. I was there's a methodology of I was having this discussion with my board, i.e. my wife, and she was bored, and we were talking about, hey, here's how we're going to bring, like we're going to go to this place, and when we go, it's going to be set up this way, and it's going to, like, this is how I want to invite people into this experience. And I mentioned the idea, I don't know if I'll do this, but I mentioned the idea of having like not a palm reader, but like the thing in big where people like a fortune teller. And again, not that that's like a part of my belief system, but I thought it'd be so fun to bring a fortune teller into the place and invite people to to find their professional purpose and have a fortune teller there as well. It might not mean anything to you or anyone else. It might scare away certain people, but it means something to me, and it makes me want to approach it. And if I were to do this, it makes it an unlosable game where I look back and I'm like, I did that. I did that. One example, and this is bubbling to my brain, I had a business called Business Rockstar where I was going to help people to grow their business by using trackable web video. And this was back in 2010, long time ago, and before BombBomb or any of these things existed. But the way that I promoted my business was I got a full out Elvis Presley costume, a giant Elvis wig, gold chains, platform shoes, and I walked from business to business passing out jelly donuts. I halfway embarrassed, halfway like laughing at myself, like I can't believe I'm doing this. And even though I did get 97, like almost every single person that I stopped in, they went to my website. It didn't work because of other things. And for a while I felt like, oh God, that was so stupid. It didn't work. But later on, I realized I liked the guy that did that. Guys, that's a part of the unlosable game. The unlosable game. It's the one that you'll show up to play because you want to play it. So the visionary, it's going to have to do with, meaning. It's going to have to do with creating. And I'm always creating new things, right? That's what the visionary does. How can you enable this to do that? I remember the story of James Cameron, director of the Titanic. He actually got the budget for the Titanic by pitching movie companies to, production companies to produce it and front the money. But the reason he did it was because he just wanted to explore, and that's going to be this next guy, Pioneer. He wanted to explore the Mariana Trench and or the wreckage of the Titanic in one of those submarines. And so with a pioneer, it needs to feel new. It needs to be exploring. It needs to be open-ended. It needs to feel free. Like, what can you do that would create that feeling? And it's different for all of us. I think the goal is, guys, we're actually finding the feeling before we're finding the results. We're giving ourselves the feeling and not requiring someone else to give it to us. Strategist, you're going to want to plan. You're going to want to tell someone what to do. You're going to want to, I think conflict and contest. I have one guy that I'm working with right now. He says his whole life has been changed from a simple contest. You want to know what it is? We are competing against each other, walking 10,000 steps every day. He completed day 28. I'm on day 31 because I started before he did. And it's amazing what happens when you feel like you're in the midst of a competition for this guy. What is at your core? How can you express your gifts? How can you allow yourself the feeling, not just of success, but the feeling you'd let yourself have after success? That. How can you give yourself that now? How can you self affirm? How can you self affirm along the way? Now it doesn't matter if it's day or night. It doesn't matter what season it is. You're winning because you're playing by your design. You're playing by your design and you're staying in your design because it's native to you. It's natural. There's something you were made for. Go find it. Don't look past something as though it were tiny, insignificant, or small. Tidying! Marie Kondo, tidying! Don't look past it. Overlay and bring in all of the elements into what you're doing. You will be like a guitar in tune, and people are going to want to play you. You want to be attractive. Do these things, and you will win the game of your life. And listen, we're here to get results, but we're here to have fun along the way too, right? So I'm going to open it up. This is Q&A time. We have some new students, have some old students. I'm going to